All right. This is day 2 of building Vancouver in Minecraft. We've got 2 sort of buildings here and some road. This one is a cathedral. I spent a fair bit of time before starting this series working on this. It's like there's a lot of unfinished stuff still, but the outside is quite detailed, I feel. One of the main things I have to think about when working on this is that the main streets of Vancouver, or at least this part of Vancouver, are on a 45-degree angle. So if I set it to north, you can see that the streets are running not north-south, but like northeast-northwest, southeast-southwest. So here you can see the cathedral. We're not going to focus too much on that today, unless people want to see that. What we will be working on, however, is this building here, the Fairmont Hotel Vancouver. It's quite a bit bigger than the cathedral, but it's also a little bit easier to build. There's lots of mirrored sections, so we'll be using some structure blocks to do that, rather than using some mods. I might get those set up eventually, like Axiom, I think is one. I might be completely misremembering that name. But yeah, this building is pretty tall. Google Maps says the elevation at the top is about 141 meters, which compared to ground level, which is 32 meters. Like, it's more than a 100-meter tall building. And right now, we've only built up to yeah, 38 and a half. 38, or a bit higher once you're on top of here. It's like 40 or so. 41. 41 and a half. So yeah, I've already put a lot of detail into this building. My kind of style with these buildings is to make the walls pretty thick so you can fit a lot of detail into them, so that when viewed from afar, it kind of flattens out. You get a really nice look. One of the problems with that, though, is that the interiors get a lot smaller because we're building this to scale on the outside of the building. So on the inside, the rooms are going to end up a little bit small. But we're not too worried about that. Like, in the church, I've done a bit of the interior. It's a little bit cramped. It feels a little bit weird because it's on 45 degrees. It's pretty dark in here, too. Like, with all the roof beams and everything in, it starts to look a little weird. But for those wondering, I can get a reference of the inside of this because Google Maps has some photospheres on the inside of this building. Quite a few, actually. I think it was, like, done as a business thing. Like, they hired someone to come in and do that. They can get it to work properly. It's usually a bit easier if I turn the 3D buildings off, but I like the visual of the 3D buildings, and it helps kind of scale things out. Actually, I think if I go here, yeah, Christchurch Cathedral, and I can go inside. You can see it is a little bit cramped in here, in person, at least according to the camera. You've got all this ceiling structure. There's an organ up there. I still have to make that. Still a lot of the ceiling stuff to do. Got most of the windows done, at least on this floor. There's a few where I can't really see what the design on the stained glass is, so I'm not sure which colors to use. It's also really hard to tell the colors from the outside, just because of the way the light hits them. But yeah, we're going to work on this building for now. What I'm going to focus on now is kind of this second floor above this main area. I'm not going to focus on this main entrance too much yet, just because that's a little bit more complicated. Let's head back out. Something you'll see a lot is these weird diagonal doors. Just for doing double doors. It's the only way to really do them, especially if you want them to open outwards. That's going to be kind of everywhere. You've got another one here. I wish Minecraft would add some sort of glass door. That'd be really nice to have. I know some doors that have like clear parts of the texture, but the only one that really has like a majority of the door open is the acacia door, and that doesn't fit the color scheme. I suppose the bamboo door is also okay. It's not great. Okay, you still only have it in the top part here. I was talking about, it's like, oh, we don't want to limit creativity by adding these new things, but I think it's always good to have new blocks. Always more ways to detail things, especially with the debug stick. Debug stick helps to get all these different details in here that you normally wouldn't be able to get in survival. Let's see, we also have a structure block that we were using to, if I place this down and set it to load. The structure blocks are a little bit complicated. Might just not be loading because I don't have the corner blocks in place anymore. I use those to copy this right side over to the left. I did have to make a few changes, like this window isn't boarded up. Same with this one, and just a few other things that were different on this side. Like this side has these grates in the window. You can probably see if I just move down here. A little bit more. And you can see this window has these grates on it. Yeah, we're going to work on this section over here. This strip here should correspond to this right here. Then we've got the top of the wall over here. I think it goes a little bit above that. In some places, like in the middle, you've got this kind of structure there. We also got some flag poles here. Those are going to be pretty easy to put in. In fact, I might just do that now. It's centered with the second window. So if I just come here, we do want to kind of be hanging off the edge like that. Looks like they were kind of an afterthought in the building. But we've got this here in line with that. So we'd either have to do something like that, in a different block, of course. Or we can break this. Then here, Probably use some sort of wall. Probably just polished deep slate. We've used that a few other times in this build. Like down here. So we put that in. We've got a symmetrical one on this side here. Now how tall are these? So just tell us close up. Let's a little bit further back. Might have to go all the way back to the other street. Of course, the further back you are, the better the perspective will be. So yeah, looking at it from here, there's that Canada flag one. I think that's a different one because you've got this one over here. That one's sitting on top of the roof, actually, I think. And it might be a little bit taller. You see, that line doesn't follow the line down to there. So that one's on its own. But this one I'd say is probably in line with the middle of the third window up. And for the material, I could use an iron bars. They are a bit skinny. So I might use pale oak. It's a pretty similar color, I'd say. Middle of the third window up. That's going to be right here. And it is capped with some sort of gold orb. Now in the past, for things like that, I've used these invisible item frames with the gold block inside. I'm trying to move away from using too many entities. I used quite a few around here. Like I've got these armor stands in here with the flowers on their head. A few entities are okay, but depending on how far we go with this project, we'll have a lot. Like just look how many are with this little altar thing here. This, I think it's a baptism bowl actually. I used a little neat trick for this though. I put a chain in the middle of this just so it has some collision. And then I put an invisible item frame on top of that chain to make the bowl. But that's like 9 entities right there just for one object. I have a few more around, like with these lanterns, just trying to make them more fancy. And these ceiling lights. So yeah, I want to try and avoid too many entities. So one option would be to use a custom player head on top of there. There isn't really a mob head that's yellow on its own. And there aren't too many blocks that fit in like that. I can maybe use commands to put a button on top, but that's not very symmetrical. So what other options do I have? I could use candles. It's not a great option though. Like if I used yellow candles, I'll do something like that, which I think from way down there looks alright. It's not too bad actually. From up close, it looks a little bit janky. That's an option though. I think player heads are the right way to go. See what else we can find in here. All the colored blocks. Could maybe try use a flower pot and probably a dandelion or sunflowers if those can be placed in it. Okay, you can't do sunflowers, but you can do a dandelion. From the ground, all you really see is the flower pot, so I don't like that too much. I think the candles were better than the flower pot. I'm not gonna worry too much about that for now. We'll get this other one in, and I'll add some player head details later. The reason I had started using entities on this one was because when I first started building, it wasn't really, oh, let's build a whole bunch of buildings. It was just, let's challenge myself, pick a random building and try building it. And this one came up. It's complex, but not too big or too small. I think it's a good size. It may be a little bit bigger. I think this is more the scale that I would want to do now. But if I'm building multiple buildings, you have to have the streets between them, and well, streets look empty if there aren't other buildings across the streets and across the intersection. So it really just gets out of hand quite quickly. Another thought I just had was the heavy core. It looks pretty good, but it's not the right color, I don't think. If I get closer, we'll see that they're gold. Get closer. It's actually pretty hard to see. I think it's because the sun is ahead of it. If we go to the other side. It's actually really hard to tell. Maybe it's not gold. It's the flag of British Columbia up there. There's a Canada flag. I think that is gold, though. And just be able to see some color. One other thing I could try is doing a lightning rod like this. If you got it gets skinnier and it's not as big up top. And it's the wrong color, so yeah, it's just gonna have to be a player head. We'll find that later. So on the edges of these, we've got this bit where it comes out, kind of in this decorative column, some sort. I don't know what I would call that. What I can do for that is, so this already comes out a little for that. But for that, we want to come an extra block, probably a block away, something like there. But if we look right below that, we'll see this grate. Yeah, this grate here, or a little window, went straight below it. And then beneath that, can use some sandstone stairs. Probably just like that. I think that's better, actually. And there's a little bit more detail hanging out under it. And there's that decorative edge along the top. Let's move ahead a little. You can get a better view of it over here. Also got these repeating structures out underneath that. So that'd probably be like right under here. And when it gets over to that, let's move a little closer. That's good. That's good. See, this kind of wraps around to the side. So I'd probably just do it like that. It's completely the wrong spot though. Something like that. Now this looks a little bit too blocky. I want it to be a little bit taller. So what I could do is take something like a birch fence, that under each of these. Actually, what I'd probably do for this one is a sandstone wall. We have one nearby. Maybe even with something like that. I think that looks pretty good. Of course, we need to see how low that actually goes compared to the windows. So above there, you have 3 windows. They're basically the same width as these guys down here. And probably the same height as well, excluding this top bit. So it'd be like 3 by 4. I think these are actually, yeah, these are 3 by 3.5. Let's copy it over here first. One thing to note is that these windows are set back a little, especially further than these ones. You can see these ones are only 1 block back from that, whereas these ones are like 1.5, 2 blocks back. It's always hard to count when it's diagonal. And if you look at this, I'd say the windows are set back a little, but probably not as far back as these ones down here. So what I'd normally do is something like that. It's not terrible. Like it appears the same width because it's diagonal. Technically, just like because of the perspective. It is a bit narrower because this is 3 blocks with these on the sides, and that's 2 of those. So it's okay. But you've also got these details in front of an like this frame on the window. And down here I did that all behind, except for this top part. I'm thinking. So we probably want the end bricks up there. And over here. And one thing I really like to do when building these diagonal walls, just make them a little bit smoother, is to take a wall of the same type as the main wall and just fill them in here. That makes it look a little bit fuller. And now I'm not liking how this looks too much. I could do something like that. Maybe with those down to make it a little bit wider. Just like that. Still not a big fan of how this comes together here. We do it like that. What I might do is replace this with a sandstone wall and raise all the sides all the way. It gives it kind of that more barrel look that it has on here. You can see it's kind of an octagon. Maybe we can even extend it down like that. It's a little tall though. So maybe I won't have that there. I think I don't need these actually. Because if you look, yeah, the top of the window, a little space, and then you have those. But I do think the window's a little bit tall. The window should come out to the same height as this one over here. I guess it's the right height then. If only there was something I could, like, hang down halfway from that. Don't think there is, though. If I was going up, I would use candles. I need halfway down. And hanging signs don't work because they're actually a full block in the end. Don't think a lever would work. Even if I could place it, I'd have to use commands. No. I don't think a button would work either. See at the bottom of this also lines up with the bottom of this design here. Just this here. So I guess like that is fine. Let's go ahead and fill in the endstone the whole way. I think this is the best way to put the stairs because you only have to debug it 3 times. What was that, 2? 3 times. Whereas if you do it this way, I think you have to debug it 4 times. Yeah. I wonder how accurate the number of these are to what there actually is. So it only goes up to that window. Zoom out a little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Going down like that. You actually don't have one to the right of this, so I can place that with that. Then that doesn't extend down any further than the rest of these, so I can get rid of that. I think that's the look we're going for. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 gets us over to here, which is past the main entrance. So yeah, there's no shot we get the right number of those in there. Unless we do something really finicky, like we put fences in between. Which might work. That goes just to the edge of that. Should be right there. Okay, now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15's there. So that's too many if we do it like that. That also just doesn't look that great. So I don't think we're going to worry too much about the number in the end. Unless we can do like some really janky pattern. So you can see to the edge of the first window, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess if you count these indents instead, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 only. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to count apparently. Well, if you do the indents, it's 14 of those indents. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, I mean, it's the same problem. If we did the indents instead, it would probably look something like that. I think doing that works better. And just this first one's like this, just so it lines up with the way that is. Not always going to be able to fit in every detail on these things, unfortunately. I think this looks pretty good though. Let's these windows in. Now this wall is a bit flat looking. I suppose it looks like that in real life. We've got these details right below each window. We'll probably pull that off. Just with, do some sandstone walls. Just put them like that. Just probably good enough. I think that's pretty good there. These windows do have the black edge below it. So I'll do what I did over here and just use the black carpet or the dark gray carpet. And that just gives it a little bit more detail when looking at it from down here. I also have this dark edge down here, but unfortunately I don't really have a good way of doing that. I kind of did it by using these stairs to create the gap here. Just create a little bit of depth. And make those better. There should kind of be this smooth gap between each window. But I don't have a good way of getting that. Unless I were to do something like this. And then end stone wall. But it's not that bad. Makes these windows look a little bit smaller, so what I'd probably do instead is do that just so they look a little bit bigger when you're looking through them. Then we still get the detail. Let's put some stuff on top of here. Let's see, how do I do these edge ones? Should just be the same. And then like that. And then I'll just fill this in like that. Make sure that matches up. I think that's looking pretty good. Top edge is a little bit thick now. No, these aren't matched properly, are they? Are they on this side? Well, it's a completely different window on this side, isn't it? Now I'm doubting myself. These windows are the same, this one and this one. And up here I have these as 2 blocks tall, but this is only 1 block tall. So what I might just do is replace this with the end frames and go like that instead. I'd have to do this. Replace that with glass. And then I'll just use slabs there. Cut sandstone slabs. And then you don't actually have that detail on top of it. Don't have this. That's better. Here we go. And these top windows are higher than that, which seems to add up. Okay, now with this, what I'd like is to have sandstone there and just some endstone behind it. I have to do that, honestly. Actually, I do that, make those into stairs. No, I don't like that. I think this would be endstone too. Yeah, it looks a lot better. Got that thin frame around the window. Makes these look kind of thick over here now. But there's not a ton I can do about that. And one detail I did was all these smaller windows just have endstone around them, whereas the bigger ones have the sandstone frames. So these ones are all pretty plain. I think if I did do sandstone around each one, I mean, it would take a lot of time, firstly. So I have to do on both of them and I have to debug them. But also, these aren't going to match entirely. And you just won't have very much endstone left on the building. It's pretty much everything on this face going up would be sandstone. Okay, looking back to these windows, I'm going to apply what I just did to the rest of them. Let's do it like that. That's a lot better, if you ask me. These windows do look a little bit narrow now compared to the ones below. But honestly, I think if you draw this line down, I know these windows are set back a bit, so I'd probably go like that. I'd say these windows are narrower. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mirror that on the other side. It's not a ton of stuff, so I'm not going to bother using the structure blocks. It should be simple enough to copy over. I'll have to go back and double check a few things. This wall isn't right. That's better. Same with this one. I can just go along this whole thing, placing the end stone like that. Just for consistency, I'll put it along here as well. Which means I need to fix these again. Okay. These things just have a way of working out. I suppose if it's like that, it's not like that. One thing I don't really like is this weird corner here. I don't think it's that noticeable. Just realizing my computer's not challenging. Don't want to die. There we go. I don't know if there's anything I can do about that little corner. Yeah, I'll just leave it. It's such a tiny detail, no one's gonna really notice. Except for me. Is that right? No, it's not. This should go here. This goes here. Yeah, that's pretty good now. I believe so. This middle window's got this like intricate trim around it, but it is the same shape and size. So I can just go, and then you realize that this is an odd number, whereas this is even. So to fix that, we'll just do. It does seem to be set back a little. Maybe not. Either way, I kind of have two options. I can bring it all the way forward and make it 2, but that's way too much. Or I can set it back and make it 2. Just the third option of making it 3, and then take the sandstone walls, do something like that. What about this part? I think that's pretty good. Yeah, if there's anyone in the chat, feel free to say hi. I think if I actually want that to be close to the same size, I have to do something closer to this. Might be a little bit wider because it's a little bit narrower than 2. And this is essentially 2. You just fill in these spots, you know. So how can I make it appear narrower? One thing I could do is something like that. It's a bit too narrow though. Another option could be putting these out in front, which I totally hate. I don't know, maybe. Because you do have this coming out and this protruding. Um, see, so the distance between here and here is kind of like, it's like 2/3 plus now 2/3. It should be equal to what's over here. At least pretty close. At least after the perspective takes into effect. I mean, from way back here, other than the lines on the glass, you can't really tell that's any wider. So you've got this whole bit that comes out, and what's that on top of there? It's lions holding shields. Interesting. So that's pretty similar to this structure up here, it's just a bit smaller. Speaking of which, I still need to copy that over. Oh, that's the same now. Is there anything on top of those I missed? Oh, just some gray. I don't know about putting gray string on top of it though. Maybe. Maybe. Just too much. Yeah, I like that. Should also really have gray along those as well, rather than just in front of these. That sticks out a bit too much, so I'll do it without. Fix it over here. No, it's fine. Okay, then for those lions, I'll probably use polished deep state balls, which of course messes up the stuff around them. So we'll do that. Yeah, just like that. And I think on top, put a wither skeleton skull. I think those look pretty similar. How's that look? That looks pretty good. Those should all be in line, shouldn't they? Which means this is I'm not sure. I think that's pretty good progress so far. Okay, let's keep at it. So in front of these windows is a weird stepped thing. So you've got the window, drops down, comes out. And then on top of there would be nice to have a planter. I'm not too sure how to do that though. What if I do something like so if I did something like that and covered it like that. It's not too bad. I don't like that you can see the bottom of the stem though. I'm not sure if there's anything that gives the same effect while covering the whole thing. Like it's trapdoors, but then you're covering top edge as well. Maybe a banner? Let's just check that over here. Let's do something like this. I can fill these bottom blocks, and it's not terrible. It covers up that bottom, but then you've got these gaps on the side. There's this. You have a little tiny gap. Is there anything else that would work? I mean, another option is just do something like that with moss carpet on top, but then you don't get the flowers. I'm not sure which I prefer. Like the big problem is that it's on these slabs, right? Do I really need the slabs there though? I did it without the slabs. No, I still want the box around it too. I'm really tempted to do the armor stand trick again that I did over here. I mean, it doesn't look amazing. Probably do it with a different head texture on there. Oh, you know what? Might just know what to do. These can't just be placed on top, can they? Actually, pink petals might work better. So if I do... do that, which is not bad. But nice if there was a block that was like green on top and gray on the bottom, but I don't think there is. Even like a cauldron filled with dirt. This thing is maybe like green glazed terracotta, but I don't really like that. It's hard to use terracotta. It's called catalyst, but I don't think that's... Maybe. What else do we have? That. And then the pink petals on top. No. I wonder if a torch flower on top would be better. Yeah, I originally went for the pink petals because they're really low. I'm starting to think that low isn't necessarily what we want. So as long as so low, you can just barely see it. Like from above, it looks all right. When you're standing on ground level, all I see is the stems. It looks kind of dead. I think that's better. I think I'll stick with that for all of them. And I think it's the same down here. Yeah, 3 more planters. Well, think about using flowers wild like that, is that they're never perfectly centered. You could obviously go and use a flower pot and put it in there to get it centered. Would cactus flowers go in flower pots? No. It can just be placed though, which is nice. And just be placed on that. Yeah, they can. It's not bad. So if I place that in the torch flower, it's a bit more centered, but at that point you might as well just do that. Right? I suppose when you look at it, the flowers don't really go above the window at all. Whereas here they're going up that way. Looks a little bit better. Like a little less full. And it's always going to be centered if you do that. That would be okay if the bottom of it wasn't brown. I prefer it gray. So let's do the torch flower crop. I think that looks good. Now, before I forget, I need to put the details behind these windows. So they've got 2 verticals and kind of 2 horizontals. Well, kind of 3 verticals, actually. I think we're only going to count these 2 in this one. Probably do something like that. And the chains. Like if that was a little bit lower. That's too low, isn't it? We want it. We want it on the same level as that, honestly. Which is right there. Maybe I use a slab. In which case I'd use a deep slate tile. Or no. Polished deep slate. Let's see how it looks from the other side. Yeah, the one thing is, like, especially from over here, I've got these gaps between that. Over here, I did it by going around the chains. Let's go with that. Of course, when I get to doing the interiors, I'll probably have to remove all that. I don't like how thick the slabs look. Let's try that. In that case, I probably don't want the one up front. It looks like a weird diamond. Looks pretty good. There's also always the option of doing it on the exterior. It should just be like that. I don't like doing that too much. It's probably what I'll end up having to do in the end. With like all of them. But for now, we'll keep it on the inside. Looks good enough. Let's try this. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a lot easier than just placing all the chains. Way faster. And then trapdoors. And forget this part. It looks pretty good. Okay. I think I found a gold head to put on top of here. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. I'll also replace those on here just so we're not using so many entities. I know it's really not that many entities, but I'm sure they'll add up over time. Nice thing about player heads is you can place them on an angle. And one more down here. And they're a little big, especially for these posts. But you know, it works.